You've heard the cliche, we are what you eat. Well, I like to say, we are what we eat, digest, absorb, assimilate, and don't excrete. That's what we are. So when it comes to recovery of all sorts, nutrition is vital. Literally, without enough nutrition, we die, right? So it's vital. And that's why the person who named vitamins named them vitamins, because in their experiments with animals and other things, even humans, when we withhold these constituents, people die, organisms die, mammals die. So these things are, and they didn't even know what we know today. They didn't have names for them. They just knew this is vital, so we're gonna call them vitamins. When we take these, we can live better and longer. So vitamins are key, but so are all the other nutrients, the minerals and the essential nutrients, the fatty acids, and we got the fats, carbs, proteins, but then there's all these other micro components of those. And so addressing this in a process of recovery is key, and in some cases vital, right? Certain alcoholics can end up with diseases that kill them that are literally a complete vitamin deficiency. And so they use vitamin in the treatment to save that person's life. So that's an example. But for everyone else, in all these other cases, they can make a huge difference, right? They can make a difference of if your body struggles for this long versus a shorter time frame because you had all the nutrients you needed to get where you were going. It can make a difference of, I've seen numerous people who are recovering from addiction, and the hardest part was when they stopped using the substance they were using or abusing, the cravings and the compulsions to want to go back. Nutrient therapy, orthomolecular medicine, or micronutrient therapy can just accelerate that recovery and save that person these unnecessary times of struggle. Now, why are these so important? And how do we get to be this way where we're low, right? I eat, it's all in the package. Like, how do I have a nutrient deficiency, right? Is that possible? Yeah, it's very possible, and it's more common than rare these days. So there's blood testing you can get to measure your levels, and you don't want to just test in the blood, because in the blood, every time you eat a salad, your vitamins will go up and down in your blood like that. So if you take a snapshot when it's high, it looks good. If you take a snapshot when it's low, what you want to test is inside the cells, intracellular micronutrient testing. That's nutrition that got eaten, digested, absorbed, circulated, and assimilated into the cell, right? And when you think about it, because what we eat and absorb and get into our body, we're made of that, and what we don't excrete that stays in our body, we're made of that. And that could be toxins and different things that we actually want to get rid of, right? So we got to be aware of what we're pulling into our system, right? What we're pulling into our ecosystem. Is it fat soluble, water soluble? Is it sticking around a long time? How long does it take to get out? How much can my body process and eliminate? I can eat that much, but when I eat more than that, I don't feel good because my body can only process this much and I took in that much. So I gotta wait and not feel good while I get all that extra stuff out of me from whatever source I got it from. But not only that, the nutrients that we need. So what's happened in North America over time is the land has gone through changes. You can look this up in the history of the United States Department of Agriculture. You can look up different reports. I've glanced all these things over the years in my own empowering education of I wanted to know, is that true? What does it say? And I looked at these things, and basically the topsoil has changed, and how rich the soil is with minerals and nutrition and microorganisms that make vitamins that plants end up pulling into themselves, and then animals eat those plants and we eat those animals, or the plants pull it in and we eat those plants. Basically, you can look this up in the tables of the USDA. They looked at crops in the 1950s, spinach, how much iron it had, how much calcium it had, etc. Oranges, citrus, how much vitamin C was in it, amongst other things. And today, those crops, it requires like 12 or 20, just a whole bunch more cups of spinach to get the same amount of nutrition that was in 1 cup in 1950. It takes handfuls of oranges to get the same amount of vitamin C that you got from the orange in the 1950s and even before that. So we can use the same plants and seeds, but the nutrient density, the value to our body of what's in the things that we eat, is dependent upon the nutrient quality of the soil. And we have had changes in soil, we've had changes in our farming practices. Things just aren't what they used to be. We're not eating the food that our ancestors ate 1,000 years ago, or even 100 years ago. And it's changing rapidly. So we're importing, exporting food, right, from all these different sources. We're packaging food. We're changing food. But what your body wants is it wants what it's designed to utilize. It wants what its biochemical processes want to function at its optimal. And we've been procreating and having generations of families for thousands of years. And our internal biochemistry, it's set up. It wants what it wants. It's gonna do what it's established to do what it needs to do. And if it doesn't have the components that it needs, it can't do what it needs to do. And when it can't do what it needs to do, we get symptoms in a variety of ways. And one of those ways is in our brain, our cognition, our thinking, our emotions, our feelings, our ability to cope and deal with stress and stimuli. It can be a factor. It's not the only factor, but a significant factor, and in some cases a vital factor, like I said at the beginning. When one is seeking recovery, this factor is worth addressing, and it's worth addressing in a knowledgeable, informed, professional, successful, and effective way.